3 minutes and 40 seconds into this match, and Robert Sanchez craps all over Chelsea Football Club. And it's only 2 minutes later that Enzo Maresca puts in a series of changes and a plan that made sure we had no way back into this match. Welcome back to FFB amigos. Hugs out there still, but this was not a good one. This was not a bad one. Today we had an opportunity. We had the obligation, if you ask me, to destroy a Manchester United team that is way in the dumps in one of the worst places that they've been in their history, where we had the better team. We were the favorites. We had everything working in our favor, and we should have put it to bed. However, we failed miserably in a very rainy, heavy rain match all match long. Let's start with the only thing positive. Well, I wouldn't even call it positive, but not bad. The lineup was decent. The only questionable thing is that we started Wesley Fofana. But I guess they wanted to make a change given that the Bayer game, Towson and Chalobah struggled a little bit with that defensive line and wanted to make a change. I still think Fofana should not be a starter when he's coming back from injury, but I don't know, right? We got to trust the coaches. They know what they're doing. They see what's going on. We got to go with them. But other than that, it was a very, very, very powerful lineup. Every Chelsea fan wanted to see Esteban William back into the team and doing his magic. And today was going to be the day. And we wanted to see Garnacho. Two very interesting things that didn't pan out. But regardless of this, even though we had a decent team, we started very poorly in those first couple of minutes anyway. We didn't seem to have our poop together that day. And like I said, minute 3:45-ish, the fastest red card in 30 years in the Premier League, beating records, Robbie Sanchez. And he gets this silly red card. I'd rather be down 2-0 in the fifth because it's the fifth minute, Papo. It's the fifth minute. I'd rather be down to 2-0 and have our whole team together to be able to come back. But no, it's like clearly a red card. There's nothing to do about it. It's just ridiculous. It's dumb. It's silly. It is what it is. Gone. And then something really interesting happens. We obviously have to pull a player. We're going to play with one less and so on. But I find it really curious that we take out Esteban, which we really wanted to see, and Pedro. Now, both are wingers. Both are our fastest offensive players. When you know you're going to be with one man down, you're likely going to play on the counter, right? So why would you remove the two fastest players on the field? Now, I'm going to give Maresca credit here because if you look at it from a different perspective, in that I wanted to kill him. I thought as soon as that happened, I thought it was over. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're giving up any chance to come back in this game. I felt that way. It's in the live. You can see it. Like, what the hell? What kind of changes are those? I don't get it. I don't see the shape. What are you doing? It took me a while to settle, and then it was evident. But I guess the thought is Caicedo, Palmer, Fernandez in the middle. You'd have like a stronger midfield. I guess. But I think Fernandez should have been the one that won pulled there for sure, and certainly a tactical change. Fernandez never found his feet, to be honest, and later the game got a little tough and struggled. But fine, let's get into that detail a little bit later. So these guys go out, and then in the 13th minute, it was probably in the 7th, so maybe 7 minutes go, Chelsea is nowhere to be found. There's nowhere to be found. We can't get the organization together. And I don't blame the coach at this stage because I blame him for the changes that he made. But I guess for the team, it was hard to figure out what the hell to do with one less and the changes at the same time, which sometimes it's a good idea to let them settle from that and then make like one change. But he makes all the changes at once. It didn't pan out. And we're just lost. We're all over the place. And then we got this goal that Bruno Fernandes went to VAR. It was so close. I was begging it to be an offside, and I think that was tragic. It was an early goal, early red card, then their first early goal. But again, in the far post, they find glory with a header and able to put it back in, the header back in. Chalobah, 1 inch offside the Fernandes. They tried to put up Fernandes on offside, and he couldn't. And we're beat with a second header, and same thing on a piece where we do poor defending. And I lost my mind during the whole. I just saw now when I was preparing this video that Palmer was actually injured. And of course, that had to make sense because when it happened, I was already mad because we took out Estebao and Neto. which one is the speed, the other one's the magic. Okay, we're only left with Palmer, and then when he gets injured, it's like over. And I didn't like. I think the changes we made then, even then, were poor. But we'll get into that too. So Andre Santos comes in. I mean, not much of option at that stage. Once we've done what we've done, we're kind of have our hands tied in the 21st minute, 36th minute goal again. Poor defending. The second post all alone. We're fine. We saw this in Brentford. We saw this in Germany. As well in Munich. We can't defend that long ball in the second post. We allow 2 balls in. In this case, the ball goes into the box. Poor, very, very poor clearance by James, but fine. The ball goes straight up into the air. And that gives time for everybody to set themselves and try to do something about it. Shaw wins that header. Now, if somebody's static and trying to win a header and somebody comes in running into the box, it's very, very, very hard to beat them. That doesn't stop anybody that was not directly under the ball to take a 3-step running and go up to it, because the point being, nobody really went for it. We had 5 players ball watching, a ball up in the middle of the box that could have been claimed by maybe even the keeper. I have to look back at again, but certainly by at least 3 Chelsea players in the box that should have gone for it. They did not. That leads to a crappy little header that Shaw wins that header, like I said, and brings it down to Casemiro all alone again on the far post. Nobody there. I don't know why. It happens over and over. Ball in. 2-1. Chelsea are losing control. We're out. And then we're out of this game. Like, we have no chance, because aside from not having the right players in place, if you ask me, I start feeling I see no patterns of play. So normally when this happens, you take on a shape that is very evident. The shape wasn't evident. The back line wasn't sharp. You can see it on the Chalobah sort of offside thing. When he's doing that offside, everybody went off to do the offside trap. He was still stuck in behind. So we didn't draw that line. It wasn't clear. We weren't pushing up. We weren't moving properly as a block. We weren't able to play out. We couldn't play through this Manchester United press. And once we made it past midfield, we started doing this side-to-side crapola. We had nothing, man. We had nothing, no hope whatsoever. We were done. I figured, thank God. I was saying it in the live. Thank God Manchester United suck, because they can kill us the way we're playing. And then, to top it off, minute 49, we get a gift from the gods. And Casemiro gets a double yellow, red card. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm willing to say that can be a yellow. How about that? But I don't think it is a yellow, because it's not like he was the last man. Well, last man would have been a red, but he was really in a break and play. It didn't look like a dangerous play whatsoever. He grabs him from behind, holds him up, tries to tackle. In any case, whether it was or not, it's a blessing from the universe that they give us. We're back in the game, baby. Right? No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we are not. We bring out Cucurella, which, yes, he wasn't having the greatest of games. And we put Malo Gusto in, which technically fine. I get it. Some speed. I have to understand why he's really in there. But he comes in at the left-hand side instead of right-hand side. And we're just lost the rest of the game. Jorgensen had a couple of innovations, but we're lost. In the 80th minute, from James, Reese, baby. We love you, Reese James. Thank you, Captain, putting in a cross. Great header from Chalobah, all alone, but great header. And I feel like I'm a fan, so I'm excited that we can come back in the game. Come on, Chelsea, you can pull one, but it's undeserved. The patterns of play are not there. What we resorted to there towards the end was to allow Reece James to be a right back for a little bit, right? And still not bombing forward as much as he could, but he would find himself in space a couple of times, and he became the only danger. Which does not even get started. Don't get me started on that man. That's why this man is not allowed to play there a little bit more like that. He certainly did in England, and he did well. Even with those early crosses, whatever. Enzo never found João Pedro. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you go back and look at the game, because I was desperate as I was watching the game, João Pedro would do plenty runs that nobody played him through, except maybe once Enzo Fernandez and once Moises Caicedo. But they didn't find him doing those runs in behind. He must be exhausted, because not only was he doing those runs and not getting the ball, He was doing great hold of play. Joao Pedro, congratulations. I think you had a great match. It's sad nobody came close to you. When we were one person less on the field, one player less, fine, I can understand. But later there was no excuse. He would grab the ball with goal, back to goal, and two defenders on him. He'd hold up really well and sort of try to play off of someone. But there was nobody came in close enough for him to have somebody to play with. And that responsibility was down to Enzo Fernandez, and somehow he just wasn't doing it. Again, at the end, all we had was beg Reece James to put in some magic and do something. It could have been 3 or 4 against us. Not good stuff. Not at all. Very disappointing. Maresca is going to have to explain a little bit his changes. He won't. It don't matter. I'm not happy about that fisherman shit, by the way, either. Just saying. Those comments. But we'll talk about that player well-being, that whole thing later. I care a lot about well-being and being professionalism and all this. And, of course, those guys, Raheem Sterling has a lot to answer for too, but generally I don't like it, and he sometimes struggles, Maresca, with his comments and this sort of thing. So let's hope he just doesn't make it worse, because there will be a lot of questions for him. He brought nothing to the crappiest Man United team in 30 years and 40 years at a great opportunity to win. There's no excuses, no tiresome, no nothing of that. The team was completely lost. Of course, the players have a lot to answer. And maybe a lot of this has to do with the fact that we don't have any experience in the team. This is the kind of a match where you need some solid, more experience and knowledge and know how to emotionally carry a game like this. I don't know. I'll do a better analysis in the week to see how this played out. But it's marked by that. No patterns of play. Let's start from chronologically. Sanchez, I'm not even going to say anything because I don't want to be somebody that says horrible things and then somebody gets all this hatred online. But not good, Robert Sanchez. Not good, Maresca. Not good that we trust this guy so much, that the ownership, but that we haven't done better for a goalkeeper. And obviously this is going to come up all week until he has another performance, which could be weeks or months. And then Maresca, I get what he did, but it didn't pan out. And then that's what happens. You pay this price. It just looks like you took out the fastest players in our wingers and all our counting options. And then when an opportunity was given us to come back into the match, he didn't find a way to crack it, and our players had no way of doing anything either, aside from some individual opportunities here and there. And we just got put down. This ain't no Bayern Munich at all. And we got put down, just dominated. Not dominated, but like Man United had complete control of this game. Like I never sensed any danger whatsoever from Chelsea. I'm gonna fancy to have a look at right now at the stats, just to make sure I'm not speaking crazy. We had more possession, which is insane. We had a lot more possession, a lot more passes as expected, a lot more pass accuracy, and we only took 5 shots, 1 shot on target. They had 4 shots on target. We had 1 shot on target the whole match. 1 shot on target. And you would say if you were playing with only 10 men, no, that was for a portion of the game. Then we had all the chances and all the opportunities to do it. And we were bested by a crappy Manchester United team. So a lot to do, a lot of reflections, a lot to come back. We need to recover from this absolutely as soon as possible. We are playing a very easy game in midweek that I think we're going to see a lot of rotation into that. It's a third round EFL. We're playing Lincoln City. So I'm curious now that Jorgensen is going to play the next Premier League match, if he's going to play that match or he's going to go with that other guy, since he can't play the Premier League, to keep him active. And, and then we don't see Brighton until the weekend. So it's kind of an easy week. Please don't lose the EFL Cup. Please don't kick that out of the cup. Not even against Link City, against anybody. Take it seriously, please. We need to collect silverware, even if it's the Carabao, the Small, the whatever, the FA, if we're lucky, anything. Because the Premier League is going to look rough. The Champions League, we know what it is. And please take that seriously. So, a lot to ponder about. That's all I have to say for now. It's a sad one. I'll see you soon, Chelsea fans. And as always, come on, you Blues.